Baruch Hashem, we're continuing in Masechah Sanhedrin, and today we're picking up at Ayin Amud Aleph, in the article 78.3, Omer of Hanan, about halfway down in the Amud, and 78.3, the right column, second paragraph, the first separate paragraph of the first two paragraphs on the right column, 78.3, Omer Rav Hanan. Remember, we're in Perek Ben Sarah Amara. We're dealing with them, with the Ben Sarah drinking the wine, eating the meat. So we had a little discussion about wine. So the Gemara is going to continue into the discussion about wine. Amar Rav Chanan, you want to know why wine was created in this world? Wine was created in this world, A, to be menachem avelim, people who are mourning and are very sad, and they need a little bit of a pick-me-up, right? They pick them up. So this stimulant wine helps them overcome their sorrows. And Ushalem Schar L'Shaim. We have L'Shaim. We have bad people. And when they come up the Shemaim, if they did any good mitzvot, they're going to have to get rewarded for it. But we don't want to do that. So we're going to reward them here in this world with the wine they're going to drink, they're going to enjoy. That's going to be their schar for whatever good things they did. So when they get to Shemaim, they'll be completely punished. Shnei Tenu Shechar Le'ovein, give hard drink, intoxicating wine to the one who is lost, the Rasha, Ve'yayin Le'marei Nafesh, and also wine to the one who is embittered, one who is mourning. So Pasuk in Mishlei tells us that wine was created for two things: for the person who's mourning and for the Rasha. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, my dichtiv. What does it mean where it says in Mishlei? What does it say? Al tere yayin ki it adam. Don't look at red wine. What does this mean? Al tere yayin. Don't look at wine. Shema amidim penehem shel sha'im ba'olam hazeh. For it reddens the face of the wicked in this world. They enjoy it. They're drinking it. They get drunk from it. Umabin penehem olam haba. When they come to olam haba, their face is white. They have no schar. They have no reward for anything. Everything that they did good was already paid back here. Therefore, he kills them in the next world. Rava Amar, Al tirei yain kit adam. Don't look at wine because it's red. Al tirei yain shaharito dam. Right? Red also can mean dam, blood. So he says, don't look at wine because its end brings blood. What does that mean? A person who gets intoxicated and a person who gets intoxicated can end up doing something wrong. He can end up killing somebody. Someone who is addicted to wine might have to kill someone to get wine. He's drunk. He might do something wrong. Someone might kill him. And in addition, person who is drinks a lot of alcohol, we know he can what we call shoot his liver, right? Then he can has shalom. Person could die young. We've met such people who are very intoxicated, very drunk all the time. They had so much alcohol. They have what's called alcoholic liver cirrhosis, right? And their blood cannot be cleaned, and they have a lot of problems, and the liver is gone, and they end up dying from that. I've seen people in the hospital. There's young people, 40s, 50s, male, females. So he says, okay, Rav Kahana says, a little question here. We know the word tirosh, that the Torah brings down, the word tirosh means, it means wine. But why is it called tirosh? Rav Kahana Rameh, ketiv tirash, v'karnen tirosh, right? It's written, we say tirosh, but in the Torah there's no vav there. So it could be read as tirash. So what's the teaching? Tirash, tirosh. So it says the Gemara, Zacha naaseh rosh. Person who drinks it the correct way, he can be zochet to become a leader. You know, a little wine gets you in the mood. A little wine gets you in a little stimulant that can help you get out of a rut or something like that, and it can help you lead. But lo zacha, he doesn't merit, and he overindulges in the wine. Then what? Naaseh rash. He becomes poor, right? So you have tirash, tirosh. He can be either a rosh or a rash or poor. Rabbe makes a contradiction. Because when it comes to talk about wine, it says Vayayin Yisamech Levav Enosh. Yisamach Levav Enosh. The word Yisamach, Tiv Yishamach Ukrinan Yisamach. It's can be sin and shin in the Tanakh, in the Torah, right? This is a pasuk in Tehillim. So in Tehillim on Klaf, when you don't write it with the Nikudot, you don't know if it's a sin or a shin. So it can be read Yishamach or Yesamach. What's the teaching? We know to read Yisamach, but what's the teaching? Zacha misamecho. Person who is zacha and drinks a normal amount of wine, it'll lead him to simcha. Lo zacha mishamemehu. But if he doesn't zacha, he overindulges it, he doesn't know how to drink it correctly, then what? He ends up being destroyed. Chamre verechane pakihin. Wine and fragrant scents have made me wise. So Rava said that bisamim and wine made me smart. He was zacha, he was misamer from it. He became zacha, he got rosh, he became a head from it. He used wine correctly. Take a look at note 45. Apparently, a person's spirits are lifted when he smells a pleasant scent, just as when he drinks wine. The Yun Yaakov suggests that for this reason, we drink wine and smell spices during the Havdalah when our spirits are low because our Neshama Yitera is leaving. So we do a little pick-me-up. We drink a little wine and we have some bistamim, a little pick-me-up to get us further. I saw another pshat, and this is from the Imrei Tzvi. Found it in the Metiftah Gemara. He brings here the Imrei Tzvi on this. Rava saying that wine and bistamim have made me smart. The Imrei Tzvi says, let's try to understand this as an illusion that wine and bisamim made me wise. What does it say? Gemara in Kritut, the Gemara Mesechus Krisus, Mevuaj b'Shem Rabbi Yohanan explains in the name of Rabbi Yohanan. Shechem she'adibur kasher leyain, kach hu yafel bisamim. You know how we say every morning, we say in the Ketoret, we say hadik hadik, right? We hadik heitev mipnei she'akol yafel bisamim. Because the voice is very good for bisamim. That means when they would make bisamim, it would be good to talk, to sing, to use words. But Rabbi Yochanan says when it comes to wine, you don't want to talk when you're making wine. Wine needs to ferment without talking. It needs to be quiet there, right? נמצא שהיין וביסמים רומזים על כך שיש זמן של אדם לשתוק ויש זמן שעליו לדבר. So it seems to be that bisamim and wine teaches you that there's sometimes that you're supposed to be quiet and sometimes that you're supposed to talk. ורבא אמר שהנהגתו לפי הכלל הזה עשתה אותו חכם. And using this remez of wine and bisamim, of knowing when to talk and when not to talk, that has made me a chacham, says Rava. Very important, because if you want to know who's a real fool, this is a guy who just talks, doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know when he's talking about. He's always talking. A chacham, he knows his place. He knows when it's his chance to talk, and he knows how to talk, what to say, what not to say, and he knows when to keep quiet. Case in point, just a little thought. Friday night, this past Friday night, was coming off of a fast day, right? So in the shul, I usually speak Friday nights. And this Friday night, I said, I'm not speaking. I said, why not? I said, why not? Everyone's hungry. Who wants to listen to the Rav give a drasha now for 5 minutes? Everybody wants to finish up the prayers and goes home and eat, including myself. So you have to be a chacham. You have to know when it's a time to talk and when it's not a time to talk. And that's what Rava was saying. Okay, according to the Imrei Tzvi. Let's continue. Amar Rav Amram bered Rabbi Shimon bar Abba Amar Rabbi Hanina. My dichtiv. What does it mean when it says again in Mishlei? It says Lemi Oy. Who has problems? Lemi Oy Voy. Lemi Midyanim. Who has quarrels? Lemi Siach. Lemi Pitzaim. Chinam. Lemi Chachlilut Einayim. Who has pain? Who has groundless wounds? Who has red eyes? Who has all these problems? Those who linger around the wine, those who ask after good wine. Amar, when Rav Dimi came, he said in Eretz Yisrael, they say, Hai Kara, this Pesukim, Man Derish Lo Meresh Ala Sefa Midrish, Musefa Leresha Midrish. You can learn these Pesukim the straightforward way, like we just read it, or you can learn it backwards. What does this mean? Question. Who goes to the wine, right? So he starts with a person who has pain, person has all these problems, so he goes to the wine to find himself a little bit of a stimulant to pick me up. Or you can learn it the other way. Person who drinks wine ends up having all these other problems, right? So it's a kind of a vicious cycle, maybe. So that's what the Rav Dini wanted to say, that you can learn psukim both ways. Either people who have problems end up going for wine, and people who drink wine end up having problems. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing I mentioned on Shabbat also, is that a minute ago we said that wine can make a person poor. In fact, when I was learning community health in university, one of the things that we were able to tell, how do you know if a community is a good community or a very poor community? So one of the things they would look for is if the community has check cashing and a liquor store next to each other, then you know you're in trouble. Then you're in a bad community, poor community. Why? Because these people, they have nothing to live for. They just want to drink, their sorrows away, and they end up remaining poor because every money they get, they cash it and go buy liquor. Right? Then you'll pay attention. You go to certain communities in New York, you'll see there's a liquor store and a check cashing place right next to each other. Makes it a little bit of a interesting observation. Okay, back to the Gemara. Darish over Gililab. Over the Galilean expounded says the art school over here. However, I saw elsewhere doesn't mean that the guy's name was Over. Perhaps it means someone who was passing through Over Gililab. He was going through Galil. However, whatever he said, what did he say? Shlosh esrei bavin ne'emru beyayin. It says the word vai 13 times when it comes to wine. Vai means oy oy oy, right? So vai 13 times when it comes to wine. Where is this? This is in the parsha of Noach drinking the wine right after the Mabul. And it says there, Vayachel Noach. So you have your first vai. Vayachel Noach. Ish Adama. Vayita Karim. Right? He planted a vineyard. Vayit. So second one. Vayesh, third one, Hayayin. Vayishkar, and he got drunk. Vayedgal, and he uncovered himself, right up to 5, right? V'toch ohola, Vayar, 6. Cham avikanan et ervat aviv, Vayaged. Another one, right? He's up to 7. V'shnei echa b'chutz. Vayikach, so already up to 8, I think. Shem Vayafet. Yafet is not counted over here because Yafet is a name. Et simla Vayasimu. No, anyway, Al Shechem Shenehem, Vayeluchu, 10, Acharonit, Vayechasu, and they covered it, Ravat Avihem, Upnehem, Vayiketz, right? 11 already. Noach, you know, Vayeda, I must have missed one somewhere in the counting, Vayeda, the Sher Aseh, Lo Beno Akatan. If you go through it, you have 13 Vais that, that says when Noach drank wine, teaching us that drinking wine, drinking alcoholic beverages, but wine being the main one here, can lead a person to many, many, many problems. Right? Overdoing it, we see, is problematic. And one of the issues with Noach, what did Noach do wrong? Noach planted a vineyard and he drank the wine. Kiddush is made on wine. Everything's made on wine. All the holy stuff. So what did Noach do wrong by planting the wine? And he ended up with all this, and we call him Isha Adama. Instead of being Ish Sadik, he became Isha Adama now. First, he was known as a righteous man, and then he became Isha Adama. So one of the things they explain is that the Bali Musar explained is that right after the Mabul, it was a time for Noach to make the world grow again, and put in the world a new start, a better start than the previous world. And instead, Noach took the time to plant wine, to plant grapes, to get wine. And that was his mistake. He should have planted something else first. Should have been wheat. Should have been something that the world needed. He should have taken a different direction. His beginning direction to plant grapes for wine that can lead potentially to a person becoming drunk. That was the problematic. The way he started off the second thing, and we're going to see the Gemara is going to say this right now. Give it 1 minute. We're going to see the Gemara is going to say, but in the middle, Rabbi Shmuel, Chad Amar. What did Cham do? It says Cham saw and he did something to his father. What exactly did he do? Very interesting. Chad Amar Sarso. One says Cham castrated him, took away his ability to have more children. Chad Amar Reva'o. And one says no, he had intercourse with his father. He sodomized his father. He basically raped his father. Manda Amisarso. The one who says that he castrated him, right? Took away his ability to have children. That's why Noach cursed Ham through his son Kenan. He said, "You and your son Kenan should be cursed." Kenan is his fourth son. Why did he curse his fourth son? Because he took his ability away to have a fourth child. So therefore, means that he cursed Kenan. And the one who says that's how he knows a person cursed. That's how he knows it was that he castrated him. He learns the word vayar. It says over there, Vayarham Avi Kenan. It Revat Aviv, that Ham, the father of Kenan, saw his father's nakedness. And it says by Shechem, Vayar Ota Shechem ben Hamor. Shechem ben Hamor saw Dinah. What happened? He ended up violating Dinah. Same thing. Ham saw Noah, his father, naked, and he ended up violating his father. So therefore, that's what he wants to say. Gemara says, the one who says he castrated him, it makes sense why he cursed the fourth one. He cursed Kenan. But the one who says that he just had improper relations with his father, right? He sodomized and raped his father. Why did he curse his father? Why did he curse Kenan? What does Kenan have to do with anything? Gemara says no. According to the second opinion that said he sodomized his father, it doesn't mean he just sodomized his father. This guy did both. Ham not only sodomized his father, he also castrated him in that time. So as such, Ham was cursed through his fourth son, Kenan. Now, Noach, the man of the earth, debased himself and planted a vineyard. What does this mean? Ish ha'adomo. Amar chizda, amar avukvam, v'amalek kimarukva, amar evzekai, amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu Noach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Noach, Noach, lo haya lecha lemomi Adam HaRishon. Why didn't you learn from Adam HaRishon? Adam HaRishon made the same mistake with grapes. Shelo garam lo elayayin. What caused the downfall of Adam HaRishon? Wine. The Eitz Hadat was the wine. Commander Amar, Oto Ilan Sha'acham Imenu, the Eitz Hadat that Adam HaRishon ate from, Sha'acham Imenu Adam HaRishon, Gefen Haya, it was wine. The Tanya, Rabbi Meir Omer, Ota Ilan Sha'achal Adam HaRishon Imenu, Gefen Haya, it was grapevine. So you have Rabbi Meir who says it was a grapevine, and that's why it says Ish Ha'adama, the man of the land. He should have learned from Adam. Adam made a mistake with the wine. Why you Noach made that same mistake? There's nothing that brings more problems to a person than wine, says the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Chita Haya. There's another opinion. It wasn't a wine, it was wheat. Adam Rishon, Eitz Hadat was wheat, because a child doesn't become able to know, to say father or mother, to be able to talk until he eats wheat. Wheat has the power to make someone smart, apparently. And actually told him Tam Dagan. Therefore, if you say something was an Eitz Hadat that would give them extra knowledge, it should have been the Hita. Should have been the wheat. And why is the wheat called a tree? Is that apparently in the times of Maaseh Bereshit, wheat was growing like tall trees. And they didn't just eat the wheat. It was already, like it says in the Midrash, that in the times of Mashiach, there will be pastries going on these wheat trees. So that's what Adam Rishon ate according to this opinion, Rabbi Huda. Rabbi Nehemiah Omer, Tehana Haya. It was a fig tree. Shibadavar, Shikilkilu bo, Nitakinu. Because in what they made a mistake, that's what they fixed it. Shne'emar, because it says that after they made this problem, after they made this thing of eating from Eitz Hadat, they realized that they were naked. Shne'emar, vayitperu ale te'ina. They put the leaves of the fig leaves together in order to provide them some prophecy. Okay, so we see again and again and again, drinking is not such a good thing to a person to get to such a state that he's drunk. Now, yes, Alan, you want to say something?
Finish. I have a question.
No, I just wanted to give an idea, saying that in my lifetime, I'm sure in your life too, you've seen people getting really drunk, whether on vodka, whatever it is, and it never ends really nicely. They fight with their spouse, they fight with their children, they get all upset. It's not something that we want. You want people to get, on Simchas Torah, people get drunk, or important people get drunk. Really, you don't have to get drunk on either of these days, and especially if you know you're not a good drunk. You're throwing up, you're bothering people, you're being not nice to people. It's one thing if you're able to do it besimcha and in a good way, and that's something else. But otherwise, our Gemara seems to be very clear, saying that there should be moderation when it comes to wine. Yes.
Okay. Is there two reasons are provided, right? What happened to Noah? With the first one, it has a logical explanation that he doesn't want the inheritance or whatever to be divided among more children of Noah. Is there another? Is there a logical explanation for the sodomy except than just Gizras Shava explanation?
Okay, so you're saying good.
It is difficult to.
So you're saying he castrated him because he didn't want to have any more children. This way, you don't have to be split up amongst more children. Yes. Very good. We're saying in the end, the guy who says sodomy also says he definitely castrated him. So maybe Ham was such a degenerate that he had the opportunity to rape his father, and he did. And it doesn't have to be a further reason for that.
He got saved. He got saved from the flood because of the reason they were righteous, not righteous family.
Right.
So how is it within 1 year? A lot of things changed.
We know that Cham ended up having relations on the ark, which he wasn't supposed to, right?
The children were not so righteous. The Zachud of Noah, they got saved.
Also true. It turns out Cham is not such a nice guy. So you learn a few things. Just from what you're saying, you can see a few very important lessons. Just because your father's righteous doesn't mean the son is righteous. Even if you're righteous at one point, doesn't mean you're righteous on the second point, right? It could be at some point in life a person was righteous, and later on he's not, right? It could happen. It could go the other way too. If you're not righteous and become righteous, it could go the other way also. Be righteous and not be righteous afterwards, and also as time develops, people change, and a person has to keep that in mind. I think, but very good insights. Okay, let's see a little more about this wine. Now we're going to come to a episode that happened with Shlomo Hamelech. So the background, and then we're going to get into Batsheva. So Batsheva, remember, is Shlomo Hamelech's mother. Batsheva is giving Musar to Shlomo Hamelech. What happened? The way they want to explain this Gemara is that this was when the inauguration of the Beit HaMikdash, and Shlomo Melech overslept. Why? Because Bat Parol, he made him oversleep. She made the room dark. She put stars and the moons, and she made it look like it was till nighttime. And the Midrashim also say that she gave him a lot of wine to drink, and so he comes late. And Batsheva is very upset with Shlomo Melech, so she gives him musar. And this is what it say. These are the words of Lemuel, Shlomo Melech. Melech, the king, Masa, a prophecy, Asher Yiseratu Imo, a prophecy that his mother gave him Musa. So it's not a real prophecy because his mother is not an Neviah, but he's accepting his mother's Musar as a prophecy. And he's saying that this is what my mother told me, and I accepted it as Nevuah. Lemuel, the Gemara says, you take a look at note 5, it says Lemuel means Lemo, to Hashem. Shlomo Melech is known as to Hashem because he was supposed to dedicate all his actions and wisdom to Hashem. Melamed. You know what this means? Asher Yisareh tu. Melamed shekafa'atu imo al ha'amud. That his mother Bathsheba tied Shlomo Melech to a post as if she was about to give him makot. That's the type of thing she was doing here. But Amrullah, and she said to him, Ma beri, what are you doing, my son? Ma bar bitni, what's going to be with the son of my womb? Umar bar nidarai, what's going to be the son of my vows? What's she talking about? Ma beri. She's saying to Shlomo Melech, they're going to call you my son, and I don't want the people to call you my son. What does she mean? Everybody knew David Melech was a big Yireh Shamayim. Achshav Yomru, and now they see you sleeping and getting drunk on the day of inauguration of the Beit Mikdash. Yomru, they're going to say, Imo Geramalo, that he learned this from his mother. He couldn't learn this from his father. His father's a tzaddik. It must be that his mother is not such a tzaddiket, and she's learning it from him. So they're going to call you my son and not your father's son. Uma bar bitni. And what's going to be with the son of my womb? What is she saying to Shlomo Melech? All of the women in your father's household, Kivan, Shemit Abirot, Shuv, Enan, Ro'et Peneh HaMelech. All the other women in your father's household, as soon as they got pregnant, they were no longer intimate with David HaMelech. V'ani dachakti v'nichnasti kedei she'eh li ben mezuraz u'miluban. But I fought my way into your father's chambers in order that I should have a beautiful child like you. Because we know the Gemara in Masechet Nida tells us that a woman who is pregnant, the last 3 months, the more she is intimate with her husband, the more beautiful the child comes out. So she says, I came, and especially I fought to get into your father's chamber so you should come out beautiful. And now you're getting those qualities that I gave you to look more beautiful and more handsome, and you're using them for the wrong things, to get drunk and act like not like a tzaddik. Umar bar nidarai. And what's going to be with my vow? All the women in your father's kingdom, right, when they were with your father, they davened to Hashem and said, Hashem, we're going to be with David. We're going to do a mitzvah, and please, because of this mitzvah, give us a child, be zochet to be a king. And says Bathsheba, but I never made that type of nether. What type of nether did I do? I said, Yeli ben Zariz should be a robust son. He should be filled with Torah, and he should be fit for prophecy. Meaning, I didn't daven for a son to be a king. I daven for a son to be full of Torah. I daven for a son to be full of Yirat Shamayim, not for being the king. And you're taking, what's going to be with my vows that I made? You're ruining them, Shlomo Melech, because you're not keeping to it. So she gave him musar. And then she said, Al lemlachim lemoel el, lemlachim sheto yain. Turn not to the kings who are lemoel. Here, lemoel can mean lama lanu el, the kings who say, why do we need a god? To those who drink the wine. El lemlachim, amrullah. What do you have to do with other kings of the world who drink wine and get intoxicated? They say, why do we need God? Don't be like those kings of the world that get drunk and say, why do I need God? I have everything. I have all the treasury. I have all the strength. I have the military. That's what she told them. Don't be like that. And it is not for rulers, Rosanim, to ask, where is the intoxicating drink? You don't be like the other rulers who say, give me more wine, give me more drink. But what does she mean by this? Misha kol razeh olam. Rosanim can also mean razeh olam, the secrets of the world. Misha kol razeh olam, giloim lo. A person who Hashem gave the wisdom to understand the whole world. Shlomo Melech understood what the trees were saying, what the animals were saying. He understood everything. He's the most wise. And he's going to get drunk? It doesn't work. It's not appropriate. It's such a tzaddik to be involved with such nonsense. She said, Misha kol razeh olam, ishkemin l'fitcho. Yishteh yayin v'yishtaken. All those in the world who want to understand secrets come and learn from you. And you're going to get drunk and drink wine and get drunk? Pasnish, it doesn't work. It's not appropriate. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Where do we know that Shlomo HaMelech accepted what his mother was saying? Because it says, Shlomo HaMelech said about himself, Ki va'ar anochi me'ish v'lo vinat adam li. I am more foolish than the ish, the man, and I have no understanding of the adam. V'lo vinat adam. Ki va'ar anochi me'ish. What does it mean? Min Noach. Tichtiv yachel Noach ish adama. He says, I could have learned from Noach what wine can do to a person, and I didn't learn from him. V'lo vinat adam li, and I didn't understand from Adam. Ze Adam Harishon. Like Rabbi Meir says, Adam Harishon messed up because of the wine. So Shlomo Melech was saying, Adam didn't have who to learn from. Noach only had Adam to learn from. But I have Adam and Noach to learn from, and I didn't learn from them. Oily. He's saying, what a mistake I have done. So he accepted his mother's musar, and he changed his ways. Okay, so interesting Sukkim about Shlomo and Batsheva. Okay, let's continue a little bit more in the Gemara. We're going back in some of the halachot of a ben sorero more. Okay, so let's take a look. It says over here, we learned that if the child stole his father's money and bought meat and wine, if he ate it during a mitzvah meal, so he went to Brit Milah, he ate his stolen stuff there, or he went to any other type of mitzvah meal, he does not become a ben sorero more. Amar Rebahu, and Rebahu said, another din, Eno hayav ad she'ochel b'chabura shekula sedikim. He doesn't become a ben sorero more unless he eats it with a group of people who all of them are not good people. They're all debased people. They're not tzaddikim, no chachamim there. Everybody's bad. They're empty people. No good thing. Good for nothing, says the article. Okay? That's when you become ben sorero, when he eats there. Why? Because if there's a chacham there, it's a nice guy there, that good guy will tell him, don't continue in your ways. But if they're all bad people, no one's going to tell him to stop. Hanan Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Achal bechaburot, mitzvah, eno naaseh ben sorero more. But we learned, if he eats it in a mitzvah meal, bechabura mitzvah, in a mitzvah meal with other people, then he doesn't become a ben sorero more. Ta'amad de mitzvah, that's because it's a mitzvah. Halav mitzvah, avagad lav kol sedikim. You know when it says that he doesn't become mitzvah, that's when if it's a mitzvah meal. But if it's not a mitzvah meal, even though everyone is not an empty person, not a good for nothing, still he should become. Okay, it's only if it's a mitzvah meal, then he doesn't become ben sorero. Why are we adding this into that? No, learn this way. So he said, learn it this way. Even though he's eating at a mitzvah meal with all people who are good for nothings, still he would not become ben sorero more because it's a mitzvah meal. But if it's not a mitzvah meal, and then not everybody's an empty person, he does not become ben sorero more. Everyone has to be a good for nothing and a non-mitzvah meal in order for him to become a ben sorero more. The Mishnah told us if he ate at the meal of the extra day of Rosh Chodesh. So if Adam didn't come, they would make the next day Rosh Chodesh, right? They would make it a 30-day month, and the 31st would be Rosh Chodesh. So when that happened, they had a minhag to make a special seudah. And the reason for the seudah was so people should know about it. And they should know that it was that the Rosh Chodesh was pushed off a day. So it says if this boy ate at this meal, he does not become ben sorero more, said the Mishnah. Does that mean that at this meal, which was eaten in the attic, where they added the extra day, the attic that they always used to add these days and months, whatever it was, they went up there to eat. Did they actually bring meat there? You only brought up bread out of wheat, and you brought up beans. What are you doing there with meat? Even though you only bring up bread and beans, but this boy, he brought up his meat and his wine, and he ate it there. Because it's a mitzvah, he's not going to continue and become a ben sorero more. So therefore, even if he brings it up, no one else is eating it up there, but he brought it up, he does not become ben sorero because he's at a place that is considered a mitzvah. First of all, you cannot have less than 10 people going up into the attic for this meal to publicize when Rosh Chodesh is. You only go up with bread and beans. And you only go at the evening following the extra day. You go up only in the day and not in the night. Gemara says Vatanya. But we learned otherwise. You don't go up at night, you only go during the day. And now you said don't go in the day, go only at night. Which one is it? Said you go up in the evening and you come down early morning. Right? You can't go at night because no one's gonna know you're going up there. The whole point is it should be publicized. You go out, you go up early evening, so it's not night, not day, early evening, and people know you're going up there. And then you come down early in the morning. So when you come out, people say, "Where were you?" You say, "Oh, I was at this meal to celebrate the Rosh Chodesh." Okay, a little bit more. If the boy stole his father's Maaser Sheni and went to Yerushalayim, he has to eat meat. So what does it mean he took his father's Maaser Sheni? It means that he took the money that his father redeemed from Maaser Sheni, went to Yerushalayim, where he's supposed to eat Maaser Sheni, and he bought meat and drink and wine, and he ate it there. Still, he does not become Ben Soromore. Since he's eating it in the way the Torah says to eat Maaser Sheni, even though he stole it, still he will not become a Ben Soromore because it's involved in a mitzvah. Mishnah said if you ate nevelot, trefot, abominable creatures or crawling creatures, Amarava, achal basar of enaseh ben sorer more. Right? If you eat chicken or turkey, the boy eats this type of meat, right? Poultry, it does not become a ben sorer more. Gemara says, really? But we learned achal nevelot trefot shekatzim u'masim enaseh ben sorer more. The reason why you don't become Ben Soner when you eat all these foul creatures, nevelot, trefot, abominable creatures, is because they're not tar. But if there was tar, like a chicken which is tar, you would become Ben Soner. Lehashlim. Oh, the Gemara says there's a difference. This the round brings the halacha. Is that what? If the boy ate the full measure of chicken, he does not become a Ben Soner. But if he ate the majority of the measure of meat, and then he supplemented the rest of the measure that's needed, the measurement that he needed to make a Ben Sorer, he ate chicken, then he would become a Ben Sorer Umare. Lehashlim, that's what the Mishnah means, Lehashlim, to complete the amount with chicken. Achal davar shu misvah udvar avirah. If he ate something that was a mitzvah or something that was an avirah, he does not become Ben Sorer Umare. Davar mitzvah, what type of davar mitzvah? Even a rabbinic mitzvah, such as the food giving to the avelim, ate there, he still does not become Ben Sorer because it's involved in a mitzvah and he won't continue in his bad way. Davar avera, davar avera, I feel the rabbanon. Ta'anit tzibur, like if he eats on a ta'anit tzibur, he does not become. If he ate the meat and drank the wine, that the amount that he needs to become Ben Sorer, he did it on a ta'anit tzibur, or he did it any day that you're not allowed to eat according to the chachamim, he does not become a Ben Sorer Moreh. But Tamemai, why is this? If he does an Avera and he eats trefot, he doesn't become a Ben Sorer Moreh. He eats on the Tanit Tzibur, doesn't become Ben Sorer. Any type of Avera he commits while he's eating or drinking, he does not become Ben Sorer. Why is that? The Tamemai. Omar Kera Enenu Shomea Bekolenu. It says he did not listen to our voice. Bekolenu. That's when he becomes the Ben Sorer Moreh, the Pasuk says. Below Bekolo Shel Makom. And it doesn't say he didn't listen to Hashem's voice. He does not become Ben Sorer if he doesn't listen to Hashem. He only becomes Ben Sorer if he doesn't listen to his parents. And on Shabbat, when I was learning this and preparing it before Shabbat, I felt that there was a little bit of hidush here, something you can say based on this. That if a child doesn't listen to Hashem, that's one thing, right? And a parent shouldn't go all crazy and go against his child because he's not following the derech HaTorah. Yeah, you have to make it known. You have to follow derech HaTorah. You should have consequences if he doesn't. But it shouldn't be that you should break the relationship, that they won't listen to the parents anymore. Because he doesn't listen to the parents anymore, then he's forever gone. If he becomes a Ben Sorer, you kill him, right? But if he doesn't listen to Hashem, okay, you'll eventually get him back. But if he doesn't, if he loses that relationship, and doesn't listen to our voice anymore, he doesn't have a relationship with his parents anymore, then it's a much more scarier world. Now, I'll tell you a true story that I heard. True story. There's a person in our community over here, not Svardik, who had a child, a teenager. This boy started committing all sorts of drugs, taking all sorts of drugs, hanging around with the wrong guys. The father heard his father went crazy. He wanted to literally disown his child. He wanted to make severe punishments, kick him out of the house. And there is this guy. I don't know if you ever heard of him. His name is Avi Bischoff. He has this program called Twisted Parenting. I'm not recommending anyone to listen to it. I'm not saying it's right, it's wrong. This is the way the story goes. So the father goes to this Avi Bischoff and he says to him, "What should I do?" So Avi Bischoff tells him that your son's taking drugs. He's already addicted to it. So you, as a father, should buy the drugs for him. Buy the drugs for him? Yeah, buy the drugs for him and stay there with him when he's taking the drugs. He says, what are you talking about? Says the father to him. He says, continue your relationship with the child. Don't lose your child. Have the relationship. Tell him it's wrong. Tell him you don't want him to do it, but don't break that relationship with him. Eventually, this child went through his teenage years and he became 18, 19, told his father, "Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not right. I see you don't like it. It's not the right thing to do." He ended up going back to yeshiva, started learning again, changed his ways completely, davening, tefillah. He became a real Jew, and eventually married, and now has old children. They're all Shomer Torah Mitzvot. I don't know if it's an exception. I don't know if this is right. It's wrong, but that is the story, and possibly this is a source of the Gemara that it says doesn't listen to Hashem, doesn't become Ben Sarah Mora because the Enosh Shemay B'Kolim doesn't listen to his parents. That's a different story. Person, I was thinking about it after Shabbat as well, and I was thinking like this: that we don't have a relationship with Hashem to the extent that we know what Hashem is to us, right? What we do know, we have a relationship with our parents, right? And we understand that Hashem is a parent, that Malkeinu. So if our parents love us, right, then we know that Hashem loves us. So if our parents don't love us, do we know that Hashem loves us? So if we don't, if the child doesn't listen to Hashem, and we say, "Oh, Hashem still loves you," he'll say, "Really? But my parents don't love me anymore. So it must mean Hashem doesn't love me anymore," right? And then he'll go completely off the derech. But if he goes the wrong way, doesn't listen to Hashem, but he sees his parents still love him, perhaps he says, if my parents still love me, then of course God still loves me because Hashem is the parents of my parents, the parents of me, right? And perhaps that is a message from this Gemara. It's my pshat. I haven't seen it anywhere, but this is the way when I was learning it, this is the way I understood it. So if you want, you can take it. You don't like it, you can throw it right out. Okay, let's continue further in the Gemara. Achol kol ma'achav v'lo achol basar. Shata kol mashke v'lo shata yayin. Achol kol ma'achav v'lo achol basar. La'itu devela ki'ilat. When it says he has to eat meat, and if anything else it doesn't count, it's coming to exclude figs from ke'ilah. Apparently, figs have natural sugars, and they used to make fig cakes and stuff like that. They were found to have alcohol in them. And so even though it's intoxicating, it's not basar, and therefore it's not going to be counted for Ben Sarah or more. Shata kol mashke v'lo shata yayin. He drank any type of drink, but he didn't drink wine. La'ute, it comes to include davash chalad. And by the way, in the medieval times, one of the favorite drinks they had was called mead. Mead was made out of honey that became alcoholic. The chalav and milk will also become alcoholic. In fact, in the past, kefir, right? Kefir was the milk that became alcoholic. And that's what he even if he drank those drinks, he would not become a ben sorem morer. It has to be meat and wine. The Tanya. Ochol devela ki'ilat. We have a halacham. If a kohen ate figs from ke'ilat that were alcoholic, or he drank mead, or he drank kefir that had in it alcohol, and he walks into the mikdash, chayav, he is liable for having entered the temple illegally because he's now intoxicated. So even though it applies to a kohen, it does not apply to a ben sorer more. Okay, last piece of Gemara before the Mishnah, and with this, we'll end today's shir. Eno na'aseh ben sorer moreh. Ad she'ochel basar v'yishteh yayin. He has to have eaten meat and drinking wine. Tanur banan. Achal kol ma'achav lo ochel basar. He ate on any type of meat, but he didn't eat. He ate any type of food, but didn't eat meat. Shata kol mashke lo sheteh yayin. If he drank all types of drinks, intoxicating drinks, but he didn't drink wine. Eno na'aseh ben sorer moreh. He doesn't become a ben sorer moreh. Ad she'ochel basar v'yishteh yayin. He has to have eaten meat and wine. Shenemar zolel v'soveh. Said in the pasuk there, he was zolel v'soveh, a glutton and a guzzler. Even though we don't know for sure that glutton means meat and guzzler means wine, we have a zeichel davar. We have a remes, some sort of sign. Shenemar It says, this is a pasuk in Mishlei, another pasuk in Mishlei, a lot of pasuk for Mishlei today. It says, Al tihei bisov yain. Don't be among the guzzlers of wine, sove, right? So you have the sove over here. Bizole basar lamor. Don't be the gluttonous eaters of meat. Here's a pasuk that has a little sove, and it says wine and meat. Therefore, the lacha becomes wine and meat. But Omer, and it says, ki sovev izolel, the guzzler and the glutton, yivaresh, they'll be impoverished. Ukaim talbishna umah, and a slumberer, sleep from it, will wear tattered clothing. And we'll end up with this very, very important idea. Amar bizera, kol hayashem bebet midrash. Has shalom. Someone comes to the Beit Midrash to learn, and he falls asleep. You know what happens to his Torah? Torato na'aset lo kira'im kira'im. His Torah learning becomes fragmented, pieces. They don't make sense. Shne'ema uka'im talbish ne'uma. And a slumberer, a person who sleeps, will have tattered clothing. His Torah will become all fragmented. Because if a person is learning halakha, or learning Gemara, learning anything, and in the middle he falls asleep, he wakes up, learns a little more, wakes up, falls asleep, wakes up, and then learning, get all wrong pshat. If you're learning while you're sleeping and you're falling asleep, you're going to be thinking the wrong ideas, you're going to have the wrong pshat in your head, and you're going to come out with all the wrong things. You come not clear at all. Therefore, we say a person has to come prepared to learn, right? One of my things I always mention is that Shavuot night, or Hoshana Rabbah, or Leil Shvi Shel Pesach, people have minhagim to stay up, Zayin Adar, they have a minhagim to stay up all night. I always say to the people the same thing. Are you prepared to stay up all night? Don't tell me you just went through a whole day of work, or you went through a whole day of trips, or whatever it was, and now you're going to go and learn all night. It's almost impossible. You're not going to be able to understand the word. You're going to fall asleep. Then go to your bed and sleep. You want to be able to learn Torah, you have to prepare beforehand. You don't come into the shiur all exhausted. You know you're going to have shiur, you come a little prepared. You go home after work, you relax a little bit, drink something, eat something, spend some time, relax. Once you relax, now you go out to learn. Now, obviously, if you're going to fall asleep and stuff, then you have a different problem. Maybe someone has to be a timer, something will wake you up. And same thing with Shabbat. A person has to, same thing with Tefillot. A person has to come prepared. You can't come into daven when you're all like this and like that. A person has to come prepared. Everyone has to be ready that I'm ready to learn. And I like to say one of these stories from Rav Belsky's. He would say when he was a little boy, and he was a young boy in Williamsburg learning, and at night he used to learn in one of the shuls. And he said there was a guy, one of these Hasidim, they used to have a shop in Williamsburg, a grocery. He worked all day there. He came to the Beit Midrash to learn at night, and Rav Belsky said you could see this guy looks so tired, so exhausted. Rav Belsky said there was something so interesting. As this guy sat down to learn, as the minutes went by, he came to life. He kept waking up as he was learning. As he was learning, he was waking up. And he till so much that he became full of life, and he was screaming and yelling. And as he was learning the Beit Midrash, he was shouting out loud, right? A person who understands that Torah is his life, he's able to do that, right? He's able. A lot of people, unfortunately, they're not so interested to come to shiur. So they come because they want to be nice to the rabbi. There's some food at the shiur. His wife made him go, so he's there. He falls asleep because he's not really that interested, right? The Chafetz Chaim would say there was an old man that he used to know that he remembered every part of the Tsar's wagon when the Tsar visited his city. So Chafetz Chaim asked this old man, "How old were you when the Tsar came to your city?" He said, "I was about 7 or 8." He says, "Now you're like 90 something. How do you remember every detail?" He says, "How do I remember every detail? It was so exciting. Everyone remembered everything because it was such an exciting time to see the Tsar's wagon and see the Tsar as he came to our city. It's imprinted in my mind forever." Said the Chafetz Chaim. If you learn Torah and realize that every single word, so much excitement, it's all from Hashem, it's Torah directly from Hashem, then you wouldn't forget a word. You wouldn't even fall asleep. It's impossible. You're so excited. But what happens? We don't appreciate the greatness of what we have. And therefore, it's easy for us to come to shiur and fall asleep. And what sleep we get until they say, if someone hits you to wake you up, it's time to go. And as Shalom, we should practice, we should change our ways, and we should realize the greatness of the Torah, the excitement we should have, the life-giving forces that the Torah has for a person, and become prepared when you come to learn. And you shouldn't come in all tired. Why set yourself up for failure? Now, whether a person should go to shul if he's tired or not, the Chachamim tells you should go anyway. It's better to be in the shul and let your neshama hear it rather than nothing at all. But if a person really wants to have a clear understanding, like Agamara is telling us, you can't fall asleep while learning. You have to be fully focused, fully present, fully mind has to be fully there, come out with the correct shot in understanding the learning that you are. Okay, and with this Musa, this idea, we'll end this week's Gemara class. Any questions? All right. Shavua Tov Kulam is at the Shem tonight. There will be a halacha shir at 8:30. Thank you. Shavua Tov Kulam.